We're Jimmy and Natalie.
And this week, we're selling our van.
This van has been our full-time home and travel base camp for the last 3 years. We've traveled all around Canada, through Mexico, coast to coast across the US twice. And we really love this van. It will always hold a special place in our hearts. But that being said, we've bought a new van that we've been renovating, and we really can't afford to keep hanging on to this one as much as it's gonna be hard to let her go. So we've listed her for sale. The listing is linked in the description below. We really want to make sure that we match her up with the right buyer, find the right home, and she's got a lot to offer.
For the last few weeks, Natalie and I have been working hard behind the scenes to renovate and upgrade a few things on Pancake. So if you have been following our journey for a while, things might look a little bit different from how you guys remember it. And in addition to those changes, since our last tour video 3 years ago, we've been making gradual changes as we've lived in the van. So I think she's due for an updated tour.
We are gonna walk you through every little part of this van build. And to help the next owner make an informed decision, we are also, at the end, gonna go through what we'll call our regrets about the build. So without further ado, allow me to introduce you to Pancake 2.0 for her final tour. The thing that makes this van so comfortable and allows us to live in 80 square feet year-round with no issues is the fact that we built in 3 distinct hangout zones that we can swap between throughout the day. At the front, we have got a dinette that integrates the captain's chairs. In the center of the van, we've got a couch. And then, of course, at the back, we've got a stationary platform bed, so it's always available if we want to sit on it and hang out in the middle of the day or take naps. We're gonna kick off this tour in our kitchen. I have been so excited to show you guys this butcher block countertop that Jimmy's been working hard on. It's new, and he stained it, sealed it, routed out all the edges, did all the stuff. It just looks so nice and feels like it elevates the space a little bit. Integrated within that countertop, we've got our 2-burner cooktop. It is electric, it pulls a lot of power. We run it about twice a day, every day, and we've still had no issue staying off grid. So it's a lot of power, but Pancake can sustain it, so great for making pancakes. Moving on, we've got our 12-volt refrigerator down here. And I love that it's 12 volt because that means we can run it without having our inverter turned on. So overnight, we cut off our inverter, our food stays cold. It does have a little bit of a freezer. To be honest, I have not been super impressed with how well the freezer works, but it can keep ice cream cold for a couple hours. I would just usually eat it that night. At least that's the excuse I use with Jimmy. We've got these 3 drawers for kitchen storage. They all come with a nice barrel latch for whenever we're driving. Very easy to just latch it up and drive. Over here, we've got our sink. Underneath is where we keep our trash can and a 6-gallon gray water. This sink is very deep and big for, for a van. The sink does connect to hot water. We've got a 2.5-gallon water heater and 40 gallons of fresh water stored in the garage. And the cool thing about it being in the garage is since it's inside in the winter, we really don't have to worry about it freezing. So that has been very nice. Same with the gray water. In addition to being our kitchen sink, this is also our outdoor shower. I'll show you how it works. You just unhook this and you can shower from just right outside the van. It's very convenient. It's a very van life way to do it, but it's worked great for us. We personally prefer Planet Fitness showers, but we have used this several times, especially in Mexico. Real quick, I want to talk about the sponsor of today's video, Opera, and how we've been using it to not only plan for our new van renovation, but also how it's helped us list this van for this very video. Opera is a web browser that comes with tons of cool features. There's split screen, which lets me view 2 pages at the same time without having to switch between multiple windows. I just simply drag the tab down to create it. Opera also has tab islands. It lets me group tabs by theme or topic, which I can expand and collapse to keep my workspace organized and easy to navigate. Also, I can't forget to mention Aria, an AI tool built into Opera to help with pretty much anything. Basically, I just press Command/ or Control/ to open Aria on the handy command line. Then I can use it to brainstorm ideas, answer questions, and even generate images. No tab jumping or extra pages needed. All of which have been super helpful for planning this van renovation. I can even use Aria's writing mode to help me write the perfect description to list our van for sale. Plus, this feature is fully integrated into the command line, so I can use it without having to leave the page I'm on. In short, Opera has tons of awesome features that keep us organized and on track. It's totally free and super easy to get started, so if you're ready to check out Opera for yourself, click the link in our description. Another big renovation choice that we made is to go ahead and replace our old white subway tile backsplash. We went with this nice green, I think it's called like picket tile, but it's got little arches in it. People don't really believe us when we say it's peel and stick, but it is. It's just got a nice texture to it. And on this wall, we have our switches and outlets. So this is our light switch that controls our main lights. It's on a dimmer. Here we've got our AC outlet, which connects to our inverter, so it's just like a regular house outlet. This cool little panel, we have got some USB ports, a switch that is basically a safety feature. So if I turn it to the left, it supplies power to our water heater. It lets us get hot water from the sink. If I turn it to the center, which is the default position, everything is cut off. And then if I cut it to the right, it powers our electric stovetop. We do this for a couple reasons. Making sure that we don't accidentally cut the stove on while we have things on here, because we do use it as a counter sometimes. It's really nice so that we don't burn things down. And it also keeps us from using our two most power intensive appliances at the same time and risk overloading our electrical system. Moving on to this side of the kitchen, I'll show you how we achieve our 7-foot countertop. We've got a little flip up right here that just kind of adds on to the space. Usually whenever we're washing dishes here, we'll put the dry ones right here. If we have a guest visiting us, this is usually where the guest will sit at the dinette. We can even use it if we cook outside for friends. Like I'll put the food here and they'll come up and get it. And it's like a food truck type of thing. So we love having this flip up countertop. It really makes good use of the space. We wanted to use some of the extra space in the front of the van and the cab area, and so we installed the front two seats on swivels. So they both swivel around and they lock in place when you want to face towards the front and drive. We use that as the front of the dinette, and then we also built in this little bench. We raised up the floor here so that it matches the floor of the front of the van, which also kind of gives us some extra storage underneath there. It's great for sitting and working at the computer. It's great for eating, but a lot of times we'll sit here and relax, watch TV, play games. I really like this spot because it gives you such a nice view out of this window. The view is constantly changing, so we've seen a lot of different things out of this window. There's a bit of a windowsill right here, so we use it to put plants, a candle, a speaker, coasters, fun stuff like that. And underneath the flip-up table, we have got an AC outlet and then some USB ports, just so that you can charge your stuff while you're sitting here. Something that's not specific to the dinette, but I think is a very important part of living in a van, especially in the summer, is the airflow. We installed 2 Max Air Deluxe fans on the roof. They're covered so we can leave them open even when it's raining outside. And since we have 2, we can invert one of them to have a nice circular airflow to push air throughout the whole van. Another big thing for airflow is having these 360-degree swivel fans. We have one up here at the front and then one in the back. They can point all sorts of directions. They've got multiple levels of fan that you can use. They are a bit on the pricier side, but we have found them to be very worth the investment. Finally, we've got our heater underneath the passenger seat, and that's connected directly to the gas tank of the van.
So the second zone that Natalie mentioned is the couch area, which number one, obviously acts as a big couch. I think it's about 3.5 feet wide. But the most important part is this is kind of where we store a lot of our stuff. So removing these pillows, you can pop this up here, and you've got a full cubby for all of your stuff. Other than this storage, sorry, I gotta put the pillows back or Natalie's gonna get mad.
Yeah.
We have also got uppers here. So these are our upper cabinets. You can use these for whatever you want, obviously, but Natalie and I use the back two for our clothes. So I get the left one and she gets the right one. And then these we use for food. So cups and plates go in here, and then breakfast foods go in this one. Natalie's already mentioned the lower cabinets. For the kitchen, we've got 3 down there, as well as 1 under the sink. In addition to all of that storage, we also have this door here that opens up and is a pass-through to our garage. So a couple weeks ago, or geez, probably months ago at this point, we got a water filter and I built a little pull-out drawer for it. So that's what this is for. It's a little odd to have, but you can probably use it for many more things than just a water filter. But it's kind of nice to have. We usually have our hamper right here for our dirty clothes. And it's not storage related, but I might as well point this out since we're here with the open door. This is my control panel. This is also kind of a semi-new upgrade, but we've got our water level gauge here that shows how much fresh water we have left, as well as 2 buttons here. I've got the first one hooked up to our inverter, so I just click that. And then if you heard the beep, you heard our Renogy 3000 watt inverter turn on. The bottom one is actually not connected to anything, but I wanted it to be symmetrical, so I went ahead and added it. Same thing with these. I've got these hooked up to our internet devices. So we had a Starlink as well as a WeBoost. The Starlink we are taking with us, so that switch doesn't work anymore. Still lights up. But then we also have a WeBoost, which I think is this one, that boosts our cell signal. Back to storage for one last thing. If we do a little flip around, we've got this upper cabinet right here. Can you see that all right, Nat?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's doable.
They can see it.
So it's about 8 inches tall. It goes all the way to the front. It is a little small, but it's a perfect place for us to put our coats and big winter things that we're not going to see for a little bit each season. So we just kind of put it all up there, and it kind of lives up there for months at a time. And with that, I think that is all of our storage. Did I forget anything?
Oh, little flip up.
Yeah, the flip up. Natalie alluded to this earlier, but we have got a little flip up here, which is where we put some flat things. Now that we're moving out, we can tell you guys, this is where we stored our laptops for the last 3 years. Pretty much hidden out of the way. Whenever we would go on larger hikes or trips or whatever, we would put everything in here, then put a mat on top of it to kind of hide it away. I think it is kind of secretive, and yeah, it's deceptively large too.
Finally, the third zone is our bed. I love that it's a stationary platform bed because it's always just ready to hop up into, and there's no big setup or anything. Jimmy and I have got our chores that we each do in the van, and one of my chores is making the bed, but really it's not too bad because you can just kind of pull and wrap stuff around here. It's not too bad to access all around the bed and tuck in the sheets. So Jimmy and I always made a point to make the bed every morning just so that we could get that easy win and have our space instantly look 1/3 of the way to perfectly clean. I think the bed is pretty comfortable. It is the length of a full-sized bed. It's 75 inches, right?
Yes.
Yeah, Jimmy's nodding yes. It was really important to us that we fit a full-sized mattress in here, at least lengthwise, so that Jimmy didn't have to curl up while he was sleeping. So we built in these custom bump ins into the wall. You don't see them from the outside of the van, but it just gives us a couple extra inches for the mattress to fit so that you can fully lay out and you have tons of space for your legs and your feet. There is one really important part that we haven't gotten to yet. The thing that everybody asks about when you move into a van, that's where's the toilet? We do have a full functioning toilet in here. To access it, we just flip down this table, and then this dinette seat is on a hinge, so it flips up, giving you a little bit of privacy, I guess. And underneath here is where we hide our Nature's Head composting toilet. We are sending the new owner of this van off with a brand new one. Never been used. It's really not too bad. You just kind of sit here, do your thing. The way a compost toilet works is basically for number one, there is a liquids jug, and then for number two, there is a solids compartment in the back that you fill with either peat moss or coconut chips. There's a mixer on this side that you can churn, and it just mixes everything up, turns it into compost. It exhausts through the floor to keep it dry and keep it from smelling. It's strange, but I think it's a really, really nice way to be off-grid. We've loved our composting toilets. This is the second one we've ever had. We had it in our first build, we had it in this build, and we're gonna have one in our next build. So I just think it's the best way to do it off-grid.
So this is a 2019 Ram ProMaster 2500 with a 159-inch wheelbase, high roof edition. It also has 64,000 miles. We have not made many modifications to this van on the exterior, but the two I want to point out is number one, she's got some recently replaced Falcon Wild Peak all-terrain tires, and number two, I have upgraded the rear shocks, which have been great. They are the Bill Stein's B6s, which, doing a little bit of research, people seem to love in the van life community. So we went with those, and they are worth the money. And finally, to be safe, we went ahead and made the decision to get her transmission rebuilt at 62,000 miles. That is the one issue I would complain about on ProMasters. I think they are perfect vans in every other way, but their transmissions do leave something to be desired. Moving outside to complete the tour, we have got our garage space. We decided while building Pancake to add a lot of space under the bed so that we could travel with our 2 e-bikes. That turned out to be one of the best decisions we made while doing the build, because not only did we carry those bikes around for years, but we were able to swap them out for different seasonal gear, namely the paddleboards we took down to Mexico 2 winters ago. So I'll admit our electrical is a little hard to see from this angle, but here are our specs. So we have got 3 200 amp hour batteries totaling 600 amp hours of total capacity in our van. We've got 525 watts of solar on the roof that is connected to our 60 amp solar charge controller. The other way we charge is our DC to DC charger, which charges our batteries while we drive the van. That one is a 40 amp charger. In addition to all that, we have got our big, massive 3,000 watt inverter that runs all of our appliances. The only other side accessory that you might see is this little red thing. That is our WeBoost. It is a cellular booster that has been a game changer on the road, especially because we film videos and upload them like we're filming right now. We need to upload on the road when we're in the middle of nowhere, and we have never had an issue. I think one time in 3 years did we miss an upload, and that was because we were stuck in a snowstorm. We were careful to not call this part our regrets because technically everything we're about to list we're okay with, but we do understand not everyone could be.
These are probably the biggest downsides with this particular van and the things that would be most likely to be deal breakers that I think are worth mentioning.
So number one, we do not have an indoor shower. We had this section here for a shower and we thought about putting it in, but we opted against it. Instead, we have gotten our outdoor shower solution, which works in a pinch and we've used it several times. And honestly don't regret it, and it gives us a good excuse to go to Planet Fitness to take a shower and work out a little bit if we're feeling like it.
The next one I would say is not having air conditioning in here. It's just too big of a power draw, and I think our strategy when designing the layout of this van was to go for airflow and openness. And having an air conditioner, you kind of have to close everything off and you don't really get to enjoy being outside. And typically when we travel, we chase the weather. So if we're somewhere where it's so hot that you need an air conditioning unit and you need to hole up inside for part of the day, that's not usually somewhere we would want to be anyway. So it worked great for us, but that could be a huge downside if you don't want to chase the weather like we do.
And number 3, which is the last on our list, I promise it doesn't keep going on, we do not have a shore power hookup. So the only 2 ways we can charge in the van are number 1, solar, and number 2, while we drive. This is our second build, and we discovered in our first one that we just never really book campsites. We don't really need to, and our system is big enough that we can be off-grid permanently, and we've proven that because we've lived in this van nonstop for the past 3 years.
So obviously not something we really regret, but I could see that being something that would make somebody hesitate to buy this van. I also think that that would be a pretty simple upgrade to add if you wanted to. It just hasn't really been necessary for the way we live.
So you're seeing us be pretty cheerful in this video, but the truth is we are pretty sad to see her go. It was a pretty tough decision, but we felt like it was time. We are so excited to see where she'll go next.
Yeah, she's got a lot of great adventures, a lot of miles ahead of her, and I feel like we just really want to see her go to a good home. So if you're interested in possibly buying her or just checking her out, check the link in our description. Please shoot us a message. It's very important to us that she goes to a nice home. There is not a chop shop with enough money in the world to get this van, but if you think she might be a good fit for you, please don't hesitate to reach out, let us know.
And if you did like what you saw in this video and you like the adventures that we're talking about, we have documented everything in our past 4 years of being together. It's all here on YouTube, so if you are new, you can subscribe and check those out.
That would be great.
And if you feel like supporting us, we also have a Patreon.
Yes, you can add your name to the list that's scrolling over our faces right now.
Yeah, so thank you to all those names. You guys have been so supportive over the last 4 years. We really appreciate it.
Thank you guys so much for watching.
We will see you next time.
Bye.